Hi, I'm Quinn. Welcome to Open Awareness Yoga. In this video, we'll be practicing a 60-minute Yin Yoga class appropriate for all levels. We'll be spending the entire class in different shapes on the floor, and we'll be using a number of props, which you can see behind me and which are listed down in the description below. So gather your things and we'll get going. Many people can do this practice without any props, but if you're in a tighter body, it's really going to help to have props. So you'll need 2 blankets in addition to the one you're sitting on if you decided to put one down. And I'm actually on top of a yoga mat covered in a blanket. The blanket just makes it extra cozy, and Yin Yoga is a really comforting practice. So 2 blankets or towels or quilts or something that you've got in your house, and 1 firm pillow. This is a yoga bolster, which you might be familiar with. It could be a body pillow from your bed, couch pillows, but you do want it to be a little bit longer. You can see here mine is about the same length of my 2 blankets. And so you could use a stack of blankets in place of the bolster. Then you'll just need a few more things. Then if you're in a really tight body, grab a couple extra cushions. They could be blankets or towels. What you want is just enough stuff around you that you don't have to go up and move around your entire house to find the things that you need, but you can just grab it if you need it and use the props. So I think we've got another minute or so until 5:30. I'll do a quick repeat of the props that we need. And you can see here I'm wearing a watch because I'll be timing us in these poses. Give it a minute. Oh, another thing I've heard about the YouTube live stuff is that some people with internet connection problems find it very frustrating because there's buffering that happens. One thing that you can try is to pause the video and let it record a little bit ahead of you and then play it. And you'll be a few minutes behind, but hopefully then you won't have that experience of buffering. Hi, Layla. Oh, thanks for saying hi. Now I know that this is working. The way I have it set up, it just looks like I'm talking to myself. So if you have any questions in the first couple of minutes of class or anything I should be aware about, injuries or something you want me to speak to during class, go ahead and pop it into the comments. And then once we really get started, I won't be able to see them. So just a quick refresh, the link to the Spotify playlist is in the comments section, or the chat section. Play it from a separate device than the one you're watching this on so that it works. And I'll tell you when to play it just right at the beginning of class. And you'll need some props, so 2 blankets or quilts or towels, 1 bolster or firm pillow. This can also be another 2 blankets stacked one on top of the other. And if you live in a pretty tight body, you might be more comfortable later on in class with a few extra cushions or props. And I'll show you different ways that you can use these as we get going through class. Hi, Kelly. Okay, I'm going to minimize my chat window, and yeah, we'll get started. So go ahead and play the playlist if you decide to use it. And then you'll take your firm pillow and line it up long ways on your practice space. And then take one of your blankets. I'm going to use this lighter colored one, and place it across the pillow. So you'll be laying down over this with your head on the other blanket, so it's a little bit of support. And then with another blanket or towel, open it up so that it's a little bit longer. See, this crosses over more than half of my wingspan here. And then from that long side of the rectangle, roll it up. We'll make a little sausage. And then I know I've got at least one beautiful pregnant woman practicing with us today, so I'll be giving some suggestions if you got a baby. If you have a yoga block or maybe one of these extra blankets and you're pregnant, go ahead and give yourself a bit of an incline. And if that actually looks kind of nice to you, even if you're not pregnant, you can do that too. So we'll use this blanket roll in a moment, but not right away. So you'll just set that aside and then come to lie down on your bolster or firm blanket. And then reach behind you. Make sure that the cross blanket is comfortable underneath your head. Bring your arms to the side of the body, palms face up. And you can even leave your feet on the floor, or you can lengthen your legs out long. So this is a supported Shavasana to get started in class. If you notice some discomfort at your low back, adjust. Find a place that feels more comfortable for you. And if you need to just lie flat on the floor, that's okay too. So once you find a little bit of perfection here, close your eyes. And relax your body heavy on the support beneath you. And to get started in class tonight, I'll guide you through a rotation of consciousness through your physical body. And just let my voice be your voice. And regardless of what may be distracting you both outside of yourself and inside your own head, make an effort to tune in and come back if your attention drifts. And we'll begin. Bring your awareness to your right hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth, and fifth. Palm of your hand, back of your hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, right armpit, side ribs, waist, hip, thigh, knee, shin, calf, right ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth, and fifth. Left hand thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth, and fifth. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, side ribs, left waist, hip, thigh, knee, shin, calf, left ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, big toe, second toe, third, fourth, and fifth. Back of the head, crown of the head, whole forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, right eyelid, left eyelid, right eye, left eye, tip of the nose, whole nose, right side cheek, left side cheek, right side jaw, left side jaw, right inner ear, left inner ear, right outer ear, left outer ear, upper lip, lower lip, space between the lips, tongue, throat, right side chest, left side chest, heart center, upper abdomen, navel center, lower abdomen, right side groin, left side groin, back of the head, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, whole spine, right buttock, left buttock, the whole right leg, the whole left leg, both legs together, the whole right arm, the whole left arm, both arms together, the whole head, the whole torso, the whole body together, the whole body together, the whole body together. As you lie here, notice what you're holding in your awareness. Perhaps it's the whole body together. Or perhaps today you're in a more distracted brain and body. And can you pick up what's true for you in this moment and accept it with no intention to change it, no judgment or labeling or desire for anything different? A little wiggle to the fingers and toes. Slight rock of your head side to side. Bend your knees, place the soles of the feet on the floor. And if you know you like an unsupported butterfly pose, you can go there. Otherwise, I'll talk you into it in a particular way. So you'll roll to one side and then press yourself slowly up to seated. You're going to head right back down on these props, but you'll take that blanket roll that you made. Then come to seated in front of the prop again. Bring your soles of the feet to touch. Open your knees wide. Then place the blanket roll over the top of your feet. Okay, so it's right over the top of the feet. You grab the edges and wrap it underneath your calves and in between your legs. So I realize that I'm camouflaging with the navy blue, so I'll show that to you again here. Over the top of the feet, and then under the ankles and shins. Okay. Now you have the two ends of the blanket right between your legs. So you can use that to pull the heels in a little bit closer to the hips, and then lie down back over your bolster setup. Arms again to the side of the body, or if you prefer, the hands can be anywhere on your body or even out to a big T or goalpost arms, 90 degrees at the elbow. It's going to help you feel a little bit more open across the chest. And if you have any knee pain or anything going on in your legs, you want to prop up the legs a little bit higher. So that's where extra cushions come in. But really, with Yin Yoga, we are going for some sensation, some stretch in the body, but we only want it to be about 30 to 70% of our full expression of the shape, because we'll be here for 5 more minutes. And the time will really change things for many people, for many bodies. Some shapes are harder than others. And I want to say right here at the beginning that you don't have to stay in the pose as long as I suggest. You don't have to wait the whole 5 minutes and then come out of the pose. If your body is cooked, if it's done, if it's ready to finish the shape, just slowly move out of it and move into a neutral shape, or let yourself stretch and move in any way that feels good to you. Just go very, very slow. Just for this hour, enter like a new dimension, as if moving through quicksand. I'm watching the time. Let's tune into the breath. Breathing through your nose if possible. Softening the skin of the belly down far beneath the navel. can you feel your breath move the body? Inhale breaths, the body seems to expand or blow up with air. And exhale breaths help you find a softening or a release of tension. But again, no pressure, no pushing. Just an allowance, an acceptance of what is. With the time you spend in each of these shapes, the journey towards receiving more of the practice. And we'll take a few breaths together. Remember, anytime you need to move out of the shape, do so. Listen to your body's intuition. It knows a lot more than me about you. I'll count the breath out for us, so let all the air out on your next exhale, and we'll breathe in together. Here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Now return to normal breathing. Notice how that went for you. Was it a comfortable length of breath? Was it too fast or too slow? Did that practice leave you feeling like you had to gasp for an inhale? If so, the count was maybe too long this time. And for the next minute that we're in this shape together, perhaps you find that even breathing once more. And I'll offer you the option to hold the breath at the top of the inhale for the same count that you've chosen, and hold the breath at the base of the exhale for the same count that you've chosen. So it's as if you're drawing a box with your breath. And finish up your breathing. And take a few normal breaths before even attempting to move. So we want to go slow and give our awareness the chance to pick up on a lot of feelings and sensations within our bodies that maybe some of us have been a little dissociated or outside of. It just takes time. When you feel ready, first rock your head side to side. Then bring your hands underneath your thighs and help guide your legs together. Toe heel the feet about as far apart as your mat, wider than your hips, and let your knees knock in towards one another. For you, that might have felt nice and not a stretch at all. Or maybe you're feeling kind of achy right now. And that's normal. It means that you got into the connective tissue. So just tune back into the area of the body that you feel most connected to right now. Or perhaps it's the breath that is really speaking to your practice today. And remember, you're not stuck anywhere, so if it feels like you need to move or stretch, free yourself to slowly do so. We'll move on in about a minute. And if you just picked up on your level of distraction as being quite high at the beginning of class, it might take an extra effort for you, because it can be challenging to practice yin when we're feeling restless, but it's very valuable. It will be interesting to see at the end of class any changes in disposition. So let's bring the feet back hip width distance apart. And slowly roll off your props to one side and press yourself up to seated. So next we've got a low lunge that we'll be holding for some time. I'll talk you through this, and I'll give you an alternative if it's not going to work for your body. First we'll go into the low lunge. So you'll move your props out of your way. If you've got sore knees, just hold on. I'll show you something to do here. But for those of you that are ready to go from hands and knees or from kneeling, you bring one of your feet forward and the other leg stays back. So this is a low lunge. And if you need this space, say if you're pregnant, then instead of putting your hands on either side of that front foot, bring them both on the inside of your front foot so that there's some space. And don't worry, everybody, we'll all be doing this variation in a moment. So I'm already timing you. If that shape isn't working because your knees hurt, you can place your blanket, maybe the one you had as a pillow a moment ago, across your mat, and your shin will go on the blanket. Your knee will hang off of the blanket, so your kneecap isn't pressured. And if that's not enough height, build it up with more blankets. And if you're finding you have some wrist pain, make fists and place your fists down into the ground like so. We'll spend about another minute in this first shape. Remember, 30 to 70% is perfect. So you don't have to go all the way down. It doesn't have to be as deep as you go. For me, this one's a doozy. For other people, it's their favorite pose. It does require a little bit of upper body effort and strength as you're supporting yourself on your arms here. There's nothing wrong with that. And in the most challenging Yin Yoga postures, it can be the easiest to stay connected to your body, or to notice how you might flit away in some thought trying to ignore the scenario you've created for yourself. So do tune in to where you feel this the most, and send a few breaths there, as if your lungs were in that area of your body and they inflated and blew up as you breathed in, and as you breathed out, the tension slowly, slowly releases. So we've been here about 2 minutes. You can stay like this, or as I showed a moment ago, you might toe heel your front leg or front foot out to the side of the body and bring both of your arms in on the inside of that foot. So we're in more of a runner's lunge here. Some of you might like to stay upright, others might like to lower down onto the elbows, one or both. And you can come onto the pinky toe side of that front foot by opening your knee up. Just an option. We've got a little over 2 more minutes in this shape. But again, if you're cooked, if you're done, take breaks. You can always rejoin the same shape, or you can rest before the second side. Just breathe, allow, receive. And you don't have to be completely still either. I like to rock side to side like I'm a ship in the ocean. Soothe yourself. Breathe. And for the last minute in the shape, you're welcome to slowly make your way back to where you started. So toe heeling your front foot back to the center and then placing your hands on either side of the foot. You may choose to stay just as you were. And this one for sure is one that you can notice how different it is after having held it for almost 5 minutes. And we're just about there. So very slowly, shift yourself back to rest in a child's pose. If child's pose isn't comfortable to you, just skip it. Come onto your belly or lay down on your back. And if you're pregnant, of course, split the knees to bring the belly between the legs. And this is just a neutral shape. It's here to serve you. It's not about aligning yourself in this shape or doing it right. So if you don't feel like this is a rest, find a rest. I like to rock side to side, shifting my hips from my right heel to my left heel, noticing the big difference between sides and the echoes of sensation after coming out of the shape. In about another minute. Can you do nothing? Can you truly relax completely? Can you receive without the compulsion to do? And just notice if you have an idea of the second side in your mind already. Let go of any expectations. And be aware of any emotions or moods. Let them be what they are. And you'll come back up to hands and knees. And do your second side. So a lot of people have like one bad knee, putting that in quotes because we don't want to hurt the knee's feelings, now do we? So if this is the side where the knee hurts, use that blanket behind you. So that the kneecap hangs off. And I'm counting from now, so those of you that have already gotten into the shape, don't worry. Remember, we start off with the hands just framing that front foot, but you really can do whatever you want. Just 2 minutes in this initial shape. If it's a lot on the hands, you can also come up, hands on the knees, get the upper body out of it. Our target here is the quad, top of that back thigh, across the hip crease. A lot of people also feel it in the front hip. About another minute here before we move on to the variation. Can you zoom out of your experience a little bit and become the observer? as if it was a nighttime scene and you are outside of a house looking in a well-lit window, just watching what's going on the inside. And you observe your body and the body's sensations in this way. And you also observe the mind and the mind's sensations, which for you might be thoughts and thinking. But we're not involved, we're watching, witnessing. So here, if you'd like, you can toe heel your front foot away from center and bring both of your hands on the inside. And then decide, do you want to come down to one elbow or both? Do you want to open the front knee out to the side? Is there some gentle rocking or moving your body is calling for? In Yin, we call this pose that I'm in on the elbows low-flying dragon. And it's also called lizard pose. You can kind of see the resemblance. Got about another minute here. And remember, if you're cooked, don't force yourself to do. Receive the reality, receive the practice, and know that that is right for you. That there's not extra credit you get for completing the 5 minutes. True success is following your body, responding to your body, listening to your body, respecting your body. We're moving into our last minute in the shape. You might stay where you are. You might come back up onto your hands or even bring the foot between the arms once more. Or you might say 4 minutes is enough and I don't want to go the last minute. That's fair. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Maybe even take a deep breath in and let out a sigh or a moan or a groan on the exhale, and notice how that vibration supports your practice. So the beauty of practicing at home like this is that you can make all the weird noises that you might not feel so free to make in a yoga studio. Okay, you made it. So slowly, making all those groan noises, find your way into a resting shape. Whether that's child's pose or shavasana on your back, doesn't matter. Maybe your body's asking for gentle movement. Maybe it's asking for something I haven't mentioned. Do that. Just do it slowly and carefully. You've got time. You've got all the time in the world. And when you find yourself ready for just a few moments of stillness before we change shapes, surrender completely. As if just for a moment you entered a deep sleep. Let your body be heavy. If you've ever picked up a sleeping child, you know what it's like when it's just that heaviness. No muscles are on. Slowly, from wherever you are, make your way back to seated. We'll move into our next shape. So again, there are a lot of options with this next shape that we'll go into. First, I want to talk to you about the low back. And so if you've got tight hamstrings, chances are when you sit up like this, it looks more like this for you. So those hamstrings are pulling. And they also make the tail tuck under and the sitting bones slide forward. And so if you look like this when you're trying to sit up and you can't get that lift in your low back, you'll take one of your blankets or even your firm pillow and place it underneath your butt. If you still look like this, bring more height underneath your tush until you can feel a length and a lift of your low back, your lumbar spine, up and out of the hips. And we will have the legs straight for this one. But if you're quite tight, your legs might not go all the way down to the floor. And that's where we put one of the extra blankets, say just underneath the left knee, because we'll be doing something else with the right leg. So you've got a few options here. The first I'll offer you is Shoelace Pose. And so this one, bend the right knee and step it over the left leg. And you can either stay like this, especially if you're feeling something already, or you can scoot the right foot towards the outer left hip and stack your knees. And so this might work for your body. Maybe you're like, no, absolutely not. And if that isn't working, or you want something else, you'll do a half butterfly. So you'll just bring the right foot in towards the left inner thigh and let that knee open. And so also if you need the space, this is probably the right way to go. And if you're in a body that needs a little bit more to feel a sensation, then we can fold forward. And I'm going to grab all my props because I might want them to land on. So regardless of where you are, you don't want to round forward like this as if you're trying to bring the forehead down. So you want to hinge forward at the hips as best you can. And then maybe you stack some props or wad up some pillows and place the forehead down. It's okay here too to stay upright the entire time. We'll be in this shape for about 3.5 more minutes. As long as you're feeling something, you're doing it right. Now do check in with your shoulders, any tension in the upper shoulders. Release the top shoulders away from the ears. And then notice if the fronts of your shoulders are rounding and caving in over your heart. And if that's you, spread across the collarbones and let your shoulder blades move down the back. And so trust that you've then set your body in a way that will help facilitate full, even breathing and relax again into the shape. Check in with your breath. And just by noticing it, maybe it changes on its own. And get curious about the details of how this feels in your body. And I don't mean to describe or label or define them, but feel them. Maybe there's a place that feels ropey
or dry. Maybe there's a place that feels quite fluid. Maybe there's an intensity and a spiciness to a sensation in one area, and a dull, sort of broad ache in another. In Yin Yoga, we also learn to distinguish our edge. You know, that line where we are just pushing our edge out without crossing it. And sometimes we cross it. And any sharp or shooting pain, try not to react, but just move slowly to a place where it doesn't feel like that anymore. And we tend to try to fix things and rub them and move them and adjust them, but if we just shift out of the discomfort and rest in neutral, calming down, finding our breath, the body really can right itself. It asked you to avoid the sensation. You did. You just give it a couple minutes to recuperate, and you're fine. So if you're folding forward, slowly walk your hands back towards your hips and come to seated. And regardless of where your leg is, bring your foot back flat to the floor. And then straighten out that right leg, and we'll rest between sides. So here I like to just lean back, separate my legs, maybe move them side to side. My ankles are popping from being in that shape. I feel like rolling mine out. Maybe for you, you're doing something else in your body. That forward fold could be a little bit opening for the back, so maybe you lift the heart, lift the head, move in the opposite direction. Once your body feels that release it's asked for, a few breaths, a few moments in stillness. Just notice the difference between the two sides of your body. We'll move on to the second side. So sit back upright. Both legs are straight. If you're a hamstring person, there's a lot of ache, slide something underneath the right knee to just support it. You'll still get opening. Just no need to be in a state of like resistance because it's too great. The sensation's too great. That's why we use the props. Makes it bearable, but we're still opening with the time. So here's second side. Maybe do the same thing you did on the other side if it's okay on this side. But it's okay to do different things on both sides too. So shoelace pose, the first thing I taught, you'll cross the left foot over the right leg. You can keep the knee in the air. You might stay here the whole 5 minutes. I'm counting from now. You might stack your knees one on top of the other, upright or folding forward, with or without props underneath you. Or you might take a half butterfly by bringing the left foot into the inner right thigh, and either upright or folding forward. You can go down over your right leg. You can come more between your legs. It's up to you. And soften your shoulders down away from your ears. Broaden your upper back and your chest so that your diaphragm, the primary muscle of respiration, can breathe. And then, as I like to say, just crumble into the shape. Release as much holding as possible. And there's many reasons why we hold these shapes for so long. One of those reasons is that Yin Yoga is an exercise for the connective tissue, not for the muscles. And our muscles, their job is to protect the joints. And so when we go into these shapes where we are putting a healthy amount of stress on the joints, oftentimes in the first 60 to 90 seconds, the muscles are engaging. They're trying to hold our bodies away from the stress. But after 90 seconds or so, the muscles fatigue and they relax, and that's when you start to feel achy, when that changes sensation. When the connective tissues, which run within the muscle fibers, surrounding the muscle bundles, around each of our organs, if all of your tissue in your body were to disappear except your connective tissue, your fascia, you would still be a three-dimensional matrix of yourself. It's everywhere. And after that 90 seconds or so, and the muscles relax and let go, the connective tissue begins to receive the exercise and the benefit. There's some theory that the lines of energy, the meridians or nadis, run through the connective tissue. So it's like acupuncture, but much deeper, deeper than the needles can reach. As you clear blocks in your energy body, maybe even long-held blocks of unprocessed emotion and experience in the body that you don't have to relive or even think about. Just with your shape and your time in the shape, it flows through you, flows out of you. No longer a holding pattern, no longer a habit, no longer part of your present experience. Part of your history. So take one last deep breath in this shape and let it out. And slowly sit back up. Uncross the legs. Lean back. And take your small movements, whatever you need, as much as you need, before you find a few moments in stillness and observation. There's nothing you have to hold on to, nothing you have to remember. Trust in your deep knowing, your instinct and intuition, and your yoga practice, which refines all of these things. We'll move on to the next shape. So you'll stay seated upright on whatever you've decided you need to sit on, or maybe nothing. I'm going to change my orientation because we're opening our legs next. So if you can't open the legs into a straddle, if you're practicing right by your bed or something, adjust yourself so that you can. And you'll open the legs wide. Same thing with the knees. You can slide your extra cushions underneath both knees. As long as you feel something,
Even if that something is comfort, you're doing this right. If you hyperextend, so like this, joint opens more than straight. Notice the difference here and here. And you're sitting up on something, it could make the backs of your knees sore. So you do want to put something underneath those knees if that's you, or if the backs of your knees feel sore at all. Now be careful if your bolster's super heavy like mine, just be careful, use your core muscles, but bring it in front of you. And we're going to make a pretty high stack here if you are going to be folding forward so that we can land on it, okay? If you're pregnant, you want to move the stack of stuff so that it is horizontal, so that there's space, okay? Otherwise, it can feel really nice to bring it right up into the groin so that your belly, your ribs, and your chest all relax on it. One thing I like to do is fold a blanket at some height and set it a little ways away from me so that the forehead can be on the blanket, the nose doesn't get smushed. And so here, you can stay upright if this is the stretch for you, or if you'd like, come down forward, hinging at the hips, and then relax and rest over your props. And here's it, relax through your ankles, kind of wiggle your toes and relax through the soles of the feet. This isn't an active practice, and this isn't an active expression of this pose. So a lot of times people flex the ankles, but try to let that go. We'll be here for a minute and a half or so. I'll offer some variations in this same shape. You can just stay right here the whole time. So again, relax the top shoulders down away from the ears. And even though you're folding forward, don't let those shoulders collapse down over the heart. If you've been feeling down or depressed recently, it can be better to lift the head up. So if you look at the video, you can see me doing this. You come to rest on your chin, or even stack your head in your hands. And I've practiced with this myself, and it really does make a difference for me, not having my head down and forward if I'm feeling down and depressed. So you might have already experienced something in the previous poses, and if you'd like to try something different in this one, lift up that head. Either stay here if you'd like. You can shift your props over towards the right leg, and then just fold a little closer to the inner right leg. It'll give you a slightly different experience and sensation. Now let your body adjust so that it feels right. If you're not sure what right feels like for you, it's fair, it's normal. That's why we practice observing without judging. Sometimes we just don't have enough data about ourselves, really. Because it does take time dedicated to paying attention to ourselves to really have that data. And it's a courageous thing to do, to set time aside, to be with yourself, to be honest with yourself, to give yourself what you need. To receive. Now if you came over to the right side,
be careful, mind your low back. You'll slowly make your way over to the other side. Check in with your shoulders. Make sure you can breathe easily. And if you have gone to the right and the left sides, make your way back to center just for some symmetry for a few moments. And now slowly, everybody, sit yourself up. You move the props out of your way. And then bend your knees, place the feet on the floor, and walk the legs together. There you go. Hands behind you. You might choose to straighten your legs or leave the feet wide, let the knees knock. I've got this wall behind me. I'm gonna slump on it. It can feel nice. Eyes closed, if you like that. And just notice. And we'll move into a couple twists, not as long held as the rest of practice, but of course if you want to hold the twist as we finish practice, that's your prerogative. You might have longer than an hour to do this. So you'll move on to your back. And if you know that you like something underneath your knees in Shavasana for comfort, make sure that's nearby. And you might take one of your blankets and place it underneath your head. If you're cold, you can go ahead and cover up with a blanket. And pull your knees into your chest. You can also leave the feet on the floor for this. Bring your arms out to a T, palms face up, or 90 degrees at the elbow. Inhale. And as you exhale, let your knees fall over to the right. Gaze over your left arm. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, inhale. Exhale. Last one. In. Sigh it out. Bring your knees back to center. Or if you want to stay, stay. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, twist the knees to the left, gaze to your right. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Last deep breath here. Breathe it in. Sigh it out. Da. And then bring your knees back to center. Maybe slide your firm pillow underneath your knees. Straighten your legs. Bring your arms down along the sides of the body, palms face up. Nose points to the sky. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and let it all go. Final resting pose. Shavasana. And then feel the quality of your entire body now. Your whole body together. Your whole body together. Your whole body together. And before you slip off into your rest, meditation, or a nap, just notice how your mind and body and mood may have changed from the beginning of your practice. Or maybe you don't notice that there is a change at all. That's okay, that's normal too. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this Yin Yoga class and that you feel relaxed and calm. Now would probably be a good time to cuddle up with a book or take a bath if it's the end of your day. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. I want to answer and to share more with you. If you have any friends that you think would benefit a lot from this video, send it their way and put us in touch. Bye.